Hi, in this video I'm just going to go through the logging on to PISim and the different classes of user. Now when you first start PISim, what you'll get is this sign into lessons screen. Now there are three different types of user who can sign in. The first one is the guest, and a guest user has full access to PISim. They can load configurations, they can set up their own configurations and save them, and they can access lesson files. The only thing that a guest can't do is create a learning record. So the purpose of the guest is really for people just to get general use of PISim without actually recording what they've been doing in PISim. So it's no use for instructors that are trying to track people's progress through the course. To sign in as a guest, you would just type in guest as the username and any password you like. So you can use any password at all in PISim. The only thing you have to watch is that the password that you use will actually be used to lock your configuration files. So if you forget your password, it will be impossible to actually access any configuration files that you've previously set up. So it's important that you remember that, but the password can be anything you like. So if we log in as a guest, you can see that I can open instructor configurations. So I can open this configuration here. Let's just pull it up. I can save configurations if I want. So let's just stick it in the temporary directory. And let's call this guest CNF. And then I can load them back in. So let's just get out of that configuration and then open the configuration that we just created. So, oops, directory, that one. So the guest, as I've said, has full access to lessons. They can actually access the courses and they can run the lessons in PISim as well. Okay, so you can run through lessons too. Oops. We're in trouble. Alright. Right. Okay, so let's just log out there. To log out, you can actually sign out on there, and that just takes us out of there. It says that the learning file hasn't been properly created, but that's really because you're a guest. You can't have a learning file. Okay, so let's sign in as a normal PISim user. Now, normal PISim users will have a username which is created by a class list, and that class list will be created by the instructor in a thing called PISim teacher. Now, as it's shipped, the free version of PISim actually includes two students. The first one is a username of 12345. Again, the password can be anything that the user wants. So let's just call that pass1 just now. Okay, so using a username of 12345 and a password of pass1. So let's log in. Now what that says is, are you a student? Now this username 12345 has been set up so that the student's name is a student. But obviously in the real class list this would be the person's actual name, so it would be are you Bruce Postlethwaite in my case. So this gives you a check when you're logging in that you've actually typed in the right username, and you won't get a terrible shock when you hand in your learning record and discover you've done work for someone else. Okay, so let's just assume that we are a student, so let's just say yes. The next thing it asks, because we're logging in as a student who is on the class, we actually have to have a learning record associated with it. Now this learning record, what it does is it records your progress through a PISim course. So it allows the instructor to look at the modules you've done, how long you've spent in each module, how long you've spent in each lesson element. So if an instructor is keeping track on what the class is doing, it's very important that you actually keep your learning records up to date. So if you've got a learning record, you can load it. In this case we won't have, so let's just create one. We'll just stick it in the temporary directory. You can see there's a learning record there because I've been playing with it before. But let's just save the learning record as 12345.record. It's asking me if I want to replace it, so let's just say yes. We'll talk more about learning records in other videos. Okay, so once again, you know, I can open instructor configurations and do all that sort of stuff. So let's open that one. Okay, let's just save that configuration. Let's assume that I've done some work on this and I want to save the work that I've done, either to carry on with it later or to pass it on to the instructor for grading or review. So let's save that configuration as, let's stick it in the temporary directory, and let's save it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that we remember which one it is. And let's save that. Okay. Now I'm going to log out. I'm going to pretend that I've gone away. Okay. And the other student comes along, and the other student is called 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And once again, they can use any password they like. So just use test. Log in. So what this is again doing is saying, are you another student? So the student with username 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 has been given a name, another student. So this could just be somebody else's name. So let's say yes, I am. Again, because this is a student who's on the class list, they will have to either load a record or create a record. So let's create a record, which is, we'll just create this one again. So we'll just save it. Yep. Now, let's say this user discovers that you've left your configuration on the computer, and they decide that they want to copy the work that you've doing. So they've seen that student 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 has left a configuration on there. Okay, so let's try to open that. Okay, so you can see that PISim actually blocks that. PISim checks that the configuration that's being loaded has been produced by the student that is actually trying to load it. So students can't load or edit each other's configuration files. So this protects people's work. It stops people's work being copied by other students. Okay, so the other type of user that we can get is the instructor. So let's just sign out from there. And the instructor's username is always instructor, and the password that the instructor uses can be set in the PISim teacher program, but the PISim itself ships with a default instructor password of just test. This shouldn't really be used in real life, because obviously the students, if the students know what the instructor password is, then they can do all sorts of things, so you might not want that to happen. So let's log in with that. Now the thing about the instructor password is it gives you access to all the instructor functions. So you can build courses, you can save instructor configuration files. So we can save instructor configurations. Instructor configurations are open for all students and for guests. So any student or any guest can actually read an instructor configuration, unlike a student configuration file that can only be read by the student and also by, as you'll see in a minute, the instructor. So remember that configuration file that we looked at before. As another student, we couldn't actually open it. However, as an instructor, we can. Instructors can actually open any configuration file that is produced by students or by guests on the system. So that's important, because an instructor might want to actually give tutorial support to a student, or they might want to review or mark configurations that the student has produced. Okay, thanks for listening to this introduction about usernames and the different classes of user in the PISim system.